Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Do We Know Them? Episode 67. Where's the sign? I'm just looking up. It's over here. I forgot.
Guys, I feel like I'm still getting used to us switching sides, and it's good that we didn't just try and invert my picture because one, the truly would always be backwards, and I feel like I have just a lot more writing. But people keep asking if you have new tattoos, and I think it's because it's your same tattoos on other arms.
Yeah, so I guess now is the time we break it to you that my footage is inverted, so I'm backwards. So no, I don't have new tattoos. They're just backwards and look weird now. But I didn't want to switch sides because I do not like the right side of my face. So I try to pretend it doesn't exist.
Okay, Ariana Grande.
No, look, oh my God. Yeah, she did that, didn't she?
For a while, and there's this one clip of her at I think she's performing at the Today Show, and the camera guy keeps trying to get that side of her face, and she just keeps turning.
Me. I understand that because the right side of my face, it's like, who are you? There was a whole trend on TikTok where there was a mirroring thing and you would see
I didn't do that.
Literally the right side of my face. It's not a figment of my imagination is all I have to say. It looked like Quasimodo.
Well, I mean, I know I've said this in the past that my neck, when it gets out of place, it'll affect my jaw and it pulls on the muscles in my cheeks. So then it'll either make them look super sunken in or it just makes my face look different. Sometimes I'll look in the mirror and I'm like, why does my face look uneven? And it's because some of the muscles are more activated than the others. And this one's just a little droopy.
You're like the guy from Batman. The one that's like this.
Interesting reference from you.
I saw that movie once. Anyway, so today's episode is, we do have two main topics, and then I guess we should just cover our little mini topic since we just randomly, super organically actually, mentioned Ariana Grande.
I don't know if you guys have seen, but first of all, if you've seen that we covered her interesting new romance, which I guess
lots
is
of thoughts on that episode.
On pause. Yeah, that was interesting comment section.
But most of you guys loved it and loved seeing bows, and they were like, "What is this crossover? This is kind of crazy."
Yeah, I didn't realize I knew we would have some crossover, but I also forget with situations like that because I have known Bose for a while that I forget other people don't know that both of those. One, that people don't know that I know her, and then two, that she has 1 million followers. I guess it technically it's on. I put the update in the video, but I actually didn't really see any comments about it, and I was a little offended because I thought it was fucking hilarious. But I put the SpongeBob time card in 2 days later.
I have to be honest, I haven't seen it yet.
Well, great.
Sometimes I'm just so done with editing that I'm like, Lily, I'm praying that you slayed it and whatever.
I didn't talk. It's only 5 seconds. It's just the time card saying 2 days later. And then it cuts to a dun 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 to the TMZ article saying that Ariana wants to give him space while he figures out his situation with his wife. And then immediately cuts to SpongeBob sobbing.
2 days later.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. No, I couldn't imagine that they wouldn't work out.
I did imagine it would last a little longer than a week.
The reason why we even bring it up is because Lily saw the never-ending memes on the internet.
I was gonna say, Lily was harassed by people sending it to her. It was worse than the Island Boys. But you guys, if you have not seen, there are these side-by-side photos of Frankie Grande, Ariana Grande's brother. It's a side-by-side of him next to Ethan Slater, and you guys, they're twins.
It's hard to believe that Ariana Grande and Frankie Grande are related, but it's not hard to believe that Ethan Slater and Frankie Grande are related. You know what I mean?
I would absolutely believe that too. God, Frankie Grande, he follows me on Twitter. I don't know why. Oh. Because he came on Beauty Break once.
He came on Beauty Break? You've met Frankie? Yeah. Do we know them? You've met Frankie Grande?
Yeah.
You're talking about him like you have not met him. Was he not nice?
Well, he barely interacted with me.
Oh my God, was he just talking to Jocelyn?
Yeah, no, literally it was like Ariana, one side of the face. It was just me on the other side being like, oh, hi. I talk about it in a video on my channel where it's best and worst celebrity encounters, and he was one of the worst, along with JoJo Siwa.
What? Why was JoJo Siwa bad?
Because she was 13!
Well, she was just being a teenager, but it wasn't bad.
Exactly. But it was that, the whole premise of that I brought up during the Colleen thing is that, we didn't want her to come on as a guest because she was so young, and then we got forced to, and then guess what? It ended up playing out exactly how I anticipated it would.
Do you think that Frankie Grande, when he came on, was actually ignoring you, or was like it a thing like he just got caught up? Like, do you feel like it was intentional?
I mean, I don't think he has a personal vendetta against me.
I don't know. Did he see you and say like, I don't like this bitch or something? I don't know.
No, I think he had met Jocelyn in the past, and then it was just like he wasn't really listening to anything we said. It was just like words coming out of his mouth. Like he was just a mile a minute.
And Jocelyn could keep up with that.
And she interviews people, and it was also for a press. Like anytime we had guests that weren't our friends, it was because there was some kind of press opportunity that they were like promoting appearance. So he had a Nickelodeon show that he was promoting, which none of our audience was watching Nickelodeon shows. So again, stupid, didn't make sense.
He had a Nickelodeon show?
Henry Danger? I don't know if he was like the main person. I think he was just
oh my god.
It.
Well, that's kind of sad. It gives me like those vibes when there's like 3 people walking on the sidewalk, but there's not enough space and one's got to take the back seat.
Literally, there's like people have cut out clips of it being like,
no,
it's like me talking and he just like ignores me and I'm just like, okay. Should I have taken off my mascara or are we just doing it on top?
Okay, you're getting your own, then we're going to share this one. Great. Okay, so once you get it on, you're just going to add it to...
It ended and he left and I was like, what? Is it just me or was he kind of like he ignored everything I said the entire time he was there? And Jocelyn's like, no, I'm pretty sure that happened. And then we like upload the video because it had to go up. And then I look at the comments. Let's just say I wasn't alone in feeling awkward about it.
This vid should be titled 11 minutes of Lily being ignored and hated on.
Can't stand this guy, he is so rude with Lily.
All the comments are about Lily being ignored and it's breaking my heart. How dare someone ignore Lily like that?
Why do I feel like this guy was rushing to get out of the room and being rude to Lily? Like WTF, dude?
I feel bad for Lily because she's getting ignored. It was uncomfortable to watch those parts, lol.
God, that guy was rude and poor Lily looked so damn annoyed because she obviously was. Lily being ignored though. Poor Lily getting rejected around every corner.
The cringe is real.
I don't know when he followed me. I almost think it was after I did the best and worst celebrity appearances.
Oh my god.
But back to why we brought that up. He looks exactly like Ethan Slater. And it's funny because if you just told me, have you ever realized that they look alike? I'd be like, no, they don't. But these photos...
I thought about Ethan Slater never before all of this, but then Frankie Grande also never really thought about. But yeah, now that I know both of them exist on this earth, they're twinsies.
But I feel like it's only in like some pictures.
No, they have like the same nose structure.
Well, I mean, I agree that those pictures, they look the same, but like...
What is the phenomenon there? Because then, you know, you have to think about like Phineas with Billie Eilish. Like his fiance looks just like her. It's freaky.
And she's a YouTuber, Claudia.
Oh, she's a YouTuber?
Yeah. She's like, used to be, like Megan used to do videos with her back in the day. She was like that kind of lifestyle.
I'm getting too much information. Like I literally, because I'm trying this margarita drink for the first time. Am I hallucinating? Like I feel like there's so many things happening. I'm like, what?
Transporting back to 2015 when we were all relevant.
Oh, right. We did do a lot of cool things.
Literally when I see like old pictures, I'm like, holy shit, you got to do, like now I'm just like sitting in my
apartment
apartment
to like
alone.
Literally like Pharrell's management being like, hey, like Pharrell wants to hang out with Jesse. And he's like, you would be such good friends with Miley Cyrus. I'm like, bitch.
And speaking of that, I mean, just a little fun, other little tangents. I got to go, I say got to because I'm honored. It was like, I don't know how this is happening, but there was this, I would call it a hair salon, but it wasn't a hair salon. It was like a private house that you could go to if you were invited, and they would do your hair for free just in exchange for a post. Their main thing wasn't their salon offerings. It was the brand DP Hue. So they have like products, and the goal would be just to promote the products, not be like, you should come get your hair done here, because you can't unless you're a celebrity, or if you've done a beauty trip, an episode where you got to go there and then just became friends with them. So I go back one time and I'm sitting in the chair, like right to the side of the front door. It's all like pretty open, but like the rooms are still segmented. So like someone could be getting their hair washed or something and you could hear them, but you can't necessarily see who it is. But you bet your fucking ass, if I hear Miley Cyrus's voice, I'm gonna recognize that. The PR guy that I was friends with, he like comes in, he goes, and I was like, she like walks out and I'm like, and then I like was like, do I say something? Do I say something? No, I didn't say anything. But I just like stared at her and she's like walking out. She's like talking to everyone, saying like bye and just being like cool, down to earth. And I'm just like,
I believe in some form of my life, I was supposed to be Miley Cyrus's best friend. I do feel that.
Like most of us feel that way.
Pharrell told me. That was like, he calls her like his little sister. And the second he hung out with me, he's like, dude, you and Miley together would be insane. Like you guys would
You
get along.
can't
I'm
handle
like,
your weed.
Yeah, why don't you just make that happen? Like, no, first of all, I resent that. That's not true. I could handle my weed. It's just, you know, a little bit goes a long way. And sometimes I feel like calling the police on myself.
Time is going by really, 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 really slow.
Oh my God, that's one of my favorite clips of all time. You know that video that they called, like he was an off-duty cop and he called the cops because he thought he was dying? Time is going by really, really slow. Really slow.
Time is going by really, 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 really slow.
And I think I'm dead.
I think we're dying.
How much did you guys have?
I don't know. We made brownies, and I think we're dead.
Definitely been there before.
Do you remember when we got high and reacted to the fucking weird mukbangs?
Okay, but we didn't even tell the internet that we were high, did we? Because we were like scared to tell.
No, we did.
Oh, we did.
We wanted to film a video, but honestly, we didn't really have any ideas, and you guys don't seem to really care as long as we're drinking.
Yeah.
So then I asked you guys what we should do, and it was pretty much that you don't care as long as we're drinking.
So we're holding you true to that. Don't bitch about what we're doing right now. You said you didn't care.
It's true.
And if you weren't on Twitter when she asked, that's not our problem.
Exactly. Follow me on Twitter. So we came to the decision, if you want to call it that, we're going to react to YouTube trends. Question mark.
Oh, I so want to be high for this.
Should we?
Oh my God, should we?
We'll be right back.
It's embarrassing that I'm so out of breath just from climbing the stairs. You guys, this is happening right now.
It's all happening right
guys,
now.
I have never in my life filmed a video high, ever.
Can't say the same. But
I was terrified. Didn't I start crying?
Yeah, at one point, yes.
It's like some of them I can fuck with and then some of them I can't. I wasn't expecting that. Oh my God. Literally, that was the worst moment of my entire life. I've had this thing since I was a kid. That when I get scared, I literally just start crying and process just sadness. Like sadness just comes out. Oh my God, that was horrible. That was honestly horrible. When I get scared in real life too, when I get genuinely scared, I just immediately start bawling. It's like the worst reaction to have when you're scared. Because like when we would play like La Gallina Ciega, it's like a game where you're blindfolded and you try to find your friends in the dark. I would get so scared, I would just start crying and like almost peeing myself. So yeah, I did get genuinely scared. But you know what? I used to be a vibe when I was high. I just haven't gotten high in a few years. So it might not be pretty for a little bit. But you know what, Miley? I could change for you.
I'm not sure she smokes anymore, so you might be in luck.
Period.
You can be adult best friends.
Thank the fucking Lord. Okay, that was quite the sidetrack. Oh, we didn't even mention, you gave me a little tidbit of Ariana, Ethan, Dalton, and
Lily.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Which I kept forgetting that that's her name, and then I would be reading comments, and I would see the name Lily, and I'd have like a panic response.
Oh my God,
okay.
yeah.
Not me. Nothing was bad about her anyway. But yeah, apparently the four of them would go on double dates before they decided to, I would say swap partners, but they didn't swap.
They didn't swap. They didn't pull Shania Twain. Do you know that story?
No.
Shania Twain's best friend and her husband got together, and then Shania Twain ended up with the best friend's husband.
I think that's kind of hilarious, like when it's like a mutual, like it's literally a swap. But how do you get to the point of discovering that you want to swap?
No, they both got cheated on. So like they ran into each other's arms, basically like bonding over the fact that they both got cheated on by these people. And then they eventually fell in love and ended up together.
Speaking of, I am sad I just saw it because I don't know if it'll be easy to look up what's going on, but someone just tweeted me that there's an OK Baby like update.
I know it.
Oh, of course you do.
We don't need to look up anything. Mama's got it all up in here.
Perfect. Another topic for you guys.
God, if you can't tell, this episode's gonna be a fucking mess. We're just like...
This episode's really off the cuff. We're just jiving.
I'm just getting tipsy and seeing what happens. Okay, so it is crazy because if we remember what we talked about in our OK Baby update,
I don't really remember where we left off.
I've got to recap you and everyone
Give
else.
me a refresher, yeah.
Kira and Oscar were the faces of OK Baby. They were family vloggers. They were teen parents, which is what made their platform. That's what basically made them big on YouTube. They were together for a while. They have 4 children together, okay? And they had a very successful like family vlogging channel, and they were engaged And then all of a sudden they were not, and they broke up. And that's what we covered, because what we had found out at the time was that they had a nanny, and then later that person became Kira's best friend, Hannah, who then did a podcast with Kira called Beneath the Sheets, and they were very close. And Hannah had a husband named Preston. So they were all involved in that way, right? Well, when Oscar and Kira broke up, about like, it felt like a month later, like it was like no time at all, we find out that Kira's with Preston, and we're like, what the fuck? And it was just like speculation at first, because they were a little sloppy with it, if I'm being honest. They were in Las Vegas posting on Bumble for threesomes. Like they were literally with pictures of themselves posting for threesomes. I'm like, girl, you're big on the internet. People are going to figure this out. So they did, and it got out, and everyone knew they were dating. Well, now they're engaged. And she talks very openly about wanting to have his children, even though she's been super public about not being able to have more kids because she's had C-sections. You cannot, like, having more than 2 C-sections is very risky. She's had 4. You are really not supposed to do that. Like, it's very dangerous. So she talks about the possibility of a surrogate and all that stuff, but like, she wants to have his babies. She's super open about it. They posted this whole engagement thing, just kissing, and she's talking about how she's finally happy, and everyone's just like, holy fuck. Like, imagine flexing. I get it. Listen. No, I don't get it. I'm sorry. If I was like Oscar, I would be like, if I was Hannah, I would be like, are you fucking kidding me? We were best friends. You know how much penis there is in the world? You had to go for that one? Really? The thing that would get to me if I were Oscar or Hannah in that situation, because look at Oscar and Hannah, they didn't get together. Like, Kira likes to paint it all as like Preston and I consoled each other through a very difficult time. Kind of like the Shania Twain thing, but like...
Exactly. That's why it reminds me.
But Shania Twain did it after she got cheated on. So it's like, okay, slay. Like, that's way different. Like, the energy would just be different. You would bond over being so betrayed. But like...
Yeah, they were just consoling each other over breaking up, right?
Yeah. And like, they swear they didn't break up with their significant other for each other, but they ended up together very quickly. Preston was not Hannah's boyfriend. They were married legally. They were married, and then Kira was engaged to Oscar. So this wasn't some little thing, boyfriend, girlfriend, going with someone. They were best friends. She had taken care of their children. They had all hung out. They did a podcast episode together where they all talked about sex and stuff. If I were Oscar or Hannah, I would literally just be like, how long were you like wanting to do that with him? Like, how long were you wanting to leave? And like, I don't know, like, it would just leave me with so many thoughts.
And not to mention, it's all kind of weird because isn't the whole reason the breakup went viral in the first place is because that video was so awkward because she kept insinuating that he cheated?
Well, she didn't insinuate that he cheated, but he kind of insinuated that she cheated. And she did make some comments of like that made it seem like he wasn't perfect and like this and that, which nobody was saying he was perfect, but we were saying this was all fucked up. No, but he said something like, well, you didn't like not cheat, like kind of like that, like he's like, or something that the circumstances were very like suspicious, and she's like, we're cutting that out, and then they didn't. But that is the big update, is that she is engaged to Preston, openly talking about having his children, and it's people have feelings.
This next topic I don't know anything about, and I told Jesse before we started filming that you could have a gun to my head and I would not be able to pick this person out of a lineup.
Dude, okay, who doesn't know Acacia?
I know the name.
Acacia Brindley was the Tumblr it girl of like,
wait, she has a different last name now though.
Oh, yeah, she
like
does.
Kersey?
It's Kersey now. Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't make it any less confusing for me, but I like recognize the name Acacia. Obviously, it's not the most common name.
I have heard about Acacia Brindley on the internet for so fucking long. She used to be the Tumblr it girl. People would like look at pictures of her, like, you know, that hair all the way to the side. I don't know how to explain it, but like people would use her pictures all the time on the internet, and she got big just for being the Tumblr girl. So she just kind of continued that route. She grew up, right? So she was a kid on the internet. She did like capitalize on that. Like, she made a YouTube channel and she got pretty big on the internet, but she was always hated on the internet. Like, that was the sentiment I've seen for so long. Like, people just don't like her, which is interesting because...
Well, it's weird that she would get popular if everyone...
No, well, she got popular basically because she was like a pretty little like scene girl teenager that people wanted to look like. Like, when back in the day, people would look up Tumblr things to like copy their makeup and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, that's what she got big
I never
off of.
fell down the Tumblr hole. That was...
Same.
I think I was like... I don't know if I was like generationally off or if I just like... That wasn't a thing for me, but...
I couldn't do it. Yeah, I didn't like it either, but she was just one of those people that a lot of people recognize from that period of time. And then she capitalized off of that and did a lot of things on social media. But from what I could see like the overall sentiment over the years, because I've heard her name throughout the years, is like, she's cringy, she's annoying, she's this, she's that. Like that was this, I'm not saying that's what I think. That's what most of the people were saying about her.
No, yeah, no, I mean, that's like, again, I wouldn't have been able to pick her out of a lineup, but I have heard the name and it's never been associated with good things.
Right. And then she grew up and she became a wife and a mother, and she had her first daughter, and she became kind of like a family vlogger. And I would hear about her from time to time, because anybody that has a family vlogging channel, like, you're gonna hear about some shit that they did that people didn't like. So there was like little things throughout the years. And then it really wasn't until she had her daughter Rosie that I started hearing a lot of chatter about it, because her daughter Rosie has special needs. I'm not sure the exact condition she has, but it's like some sort of bone developmental thing, or like something is underdeveloped in her bone structures, or she has a syndrome that I cannot think of the name, and I probably should have looked that up first. And the reason why that's relevant is because that's the issue a lot of people had, was there was a lot of video proof, because she filmed so much, of what some people classified as neglect. So she couldn't sit up. I'm not sure if she can now, but she couldn't sit up. And there was a lot of instances of her leaving her on the floor for a prolonged period of time. One time she was on stream, and I guess the dog like stepped on the baby. People also really just started to look into it and notice that like she didn't cut her daughter's nails, but she would cut the other daughter's nails. She would never do her hair, but she would do her other daughter's hair, her typical daughter's hair. So there was like certain things where people were like, are you neglecting your special needs daughter? Basically. She has like completely said that's not true. People are misconstruing things, to which I say, welcome to putting your family on the internet, girl. Like,
that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, well, first of all, obviously she should not be doing that, and that's fucking terrible. But if you were doing it, why would you be showing it?
I don't know. I feel like when you get lost in the family vlogger sauce, you just start sharing everything without really realizing what the fuck you're doing. You know, like, it's just like second nature to just show every single thing you're doing, and you're not realizing how much of it is low-key a little bit fucked up.
And that's almost more alarming if she like didn't realize she was doing it. Like, if it wasn't intentional and she just like didn't notice that it was bad.
I'm kind of conflicted on it, because I don't know the extent of the daughter's special needs. I don't know if her laying on the floor is part of it. There's no evidence that she's hitting her children or doing something. Like, I couldn't really go
People are
there.
very much making a narrative out of it.
They were like, and I don't know if it's true or it's not true before anyone like attacks me. I don't fucking know. The thing is that as a special needs mom myself, I know it's not always super cut and dry, and you don't really understand someone's situation, and it's probably a million times harder to live in their shoes than you could ever understand. So like, I'm not quick to judge a mom of a special needs child. Yeah. However, there has been many things like that where people have said, I'm questioning her parenting. And again, I have to say to that, I'm not saying it's right, but that's kind of what you get when you put your family out on the internet like that, which is just, don't do it. You know what I mean? But
I was like, I mean, I think you get that if you barely put your family on the internet. So I can't even imagine if you were like actually broadcasting your daily life.
So that brings us to present day, where we're going to react to this situation that everyone has been talking about, which is there was a video that came out, and it wasn't of someone who knew that the person they were filming was Acacia Brindley. It just was a video of Acacia Brindley that people later identified was her. And it was a parent that was filming this person because they were like, how do parents do this? They were basically saying like, what have Gen Z parents come to? And it was a video of Acacia with her kids in the park. So this is a context that was attached to the, I think it's called Eugene subreddit. It's like their local subreddit in her town or whatever. Someone posted this video that we're gonna watch along with a text that says, my friend was at a park playing with her kids, and she sent me a snap of some kid climbing on top of a van while his mom had walked off into the woods and left her 3 kids alone. She felt so bad for the kids, since I guess the mom just laid on a blanket the whole time, taking selfies and ignoring her kids, calling her to come play. Is this what our society is coming to? I'm just appalled. She said the kids looked dirty and the little boy had a full diaper with no pants on. I guess when the mom left and walked off into the woods, she didn't say a word to any of the kids and left her baby on the blanket, which was close to the road. That's when the little boy climbed on top of the van and the oldest little girl ran into the woods to get her mom. After the mom ripped the little boy off the roof roughly, she went straight back to being on her phone, ignoring the kids. Has anyone else witnessed shit like this? It makes me think Gen Alpha is screwed. So this person didn't say, I saw Acacia Kersey at the bar, but this is the video of it. It's her van. It's her toddler on top of the van.
What the? How did he even get up there?
I don't know. I thought that too. I'm like, what the fuck?
Kids are they're magicians.
The pictures that are shown is obviously Acacia Kersey. She is on her phone. Her kids are on a blanket with her in the park. And it's important to note that her kids are very young. I think her oldest might be like 5 years old or something like that. But her son might be like, the one on top of the van might be like 2 years old max. An important thing to note is that apparently this was very close to a road. I saw a lot of people talking about. Whatever. That's basically the extent of it, is that she was photographed both being on her phone. Also, it was videotaped that her kids were alone enough to be on top of a fucking van like that. I mean, listen, I know kids do shit in the blink of an eye, but at the same time...
Well, yeah, especially if you walk in, leave them alone and you walk into the woods.
Well, that's the thing, is that I have to say, like, especially at home, when I let my guard down, my toilet doesn't work right now, okay? I don't know what the fuck my son's flushed down there, okay? It does happen where you're just like, I just want to breathe for 2 seconds without someone tugging at me. Like, let me just, for 2 seconds, look on TikTok or something. Someone flushes an inanimate object and your toilet doesn't work. Okay, I get that. But you really usually, I mean, I haven't ever let my guard down in public because there isn't room for that.
Not when you're out in public at the park, especially like outside with...
And there's no room for it just because anything can happen in a split second. There was that street, you could see the road where the van is.
Not to mention that someone apparently then looked up that road and saw that it's like surrounded by sex offenders.
I know it sounds kind of messed up, but I feel like any park would be surrounded by sex offenders. Like, I feel like that's probably a thing.
I mean, honestly, I think most just locations in general at this point in society are surrounded by sex offenders, especially in major cities. But that's just another level of like, why would you leave your kid? And what is she doing in the woods?
Well, she explains it. We do have to say a quick thank you to the sponsor of this episode, and that is Scentbird.
We're big fans of Scentbird. Obviously, if you've watched the podcast before, they're a repeat sponsor. And I actually just found out recently that you guys, they don't just have like new perfumes, they have some vintage ones. And I'm talking Britney Spears Curious and Katy Perry Purr. And I keep forgetting to tell them that that's what I want them to send me because I want to just like relive my favorite scent ever. I feel like it's gonna bring back a lot of memories.
I feel like a scent can literally transport you in 2 seconds.
Legitimately, I think it's going to unlock memories from high school, which could be good or bad.
And if you guys aren't familiar with Scentbird for some reason, you must be new to this podcast. But it is a fragrance subscription service, so it allows you to try out so many new fragrances. And they have designer perfumes, they have indie perfumes, unisex, men, women. They have everything, and you get to choose what you want in your little queue thing. Honestly, for me, it's really like unlocked a whole world because buying one bottle of perfume alone is like $100 commitment, and I can almost never do that. So this has allowed me to try so many new things. Yeah, for sure. What did you get this week? Because we got 3 perfumes.
I have Eau de Perfume Grace de Monaco by Danse Etoile.
De Parfum.
Okay, well, I thought it was one of my better pronunciations, but you know. Then we have Moscow Mule by Juliet Has a Gun Perfumes. And then also Glass House Fragrances Forever Florence.
I got, I'm gonna get tackled with these names too. Actually, 2 of them are easy. So I got Joe Love's Mango Thai Lime. I got Mirrored Image by Murillo Twins. And then I got House of Beau Infinitu. I'm not sure. What's weird is I really like the House of Beau one, but it's very unisex. Like, I low-key may share it with my husband. If you guys want to try Scentbird for yourself and get 55% off your first month with Scentbird, you can use our code DOWEKNOW and try it for yourself, because I know you're gonna love it. And if you want to get that all done way quicker, you can just scan the QR code right here.
That works too.
Thank you so much to Scentbird for being a wonderful sponsor of this podcast. We love you.
Cheers.
Okay, so here is Acacia addressing everything.
Hi everyone. I'm not entirely sure where to start with this video, but I thought that I would come and talk a little bit. I don't have too much time. My life is quite in the transition mode at the current state. But there was a video that went around that someone took of me and my kiddos at the park where my youngest was climbing on top of a car. And I've been on the internet an extremely long time, where I know that the internet loves to take stuff like that and then also play the game of telephone and add more to it, take stuff away, ignore certain parts of it, or just fabricate more and more as the story gets told. Things like I had left them completely unattended for an extended period of time, taking photos, taking selfies, playing video games. People had to come retrieve me from the forest to help my son down from the car. Just all of these like extra fabrications that weren't true. So I'd like to just come on and just shed some light on what actually occurred, which is another reason why I had mentioned on my Instagram that I've been dealing with domestic abuse and domestic violence for several years now, but since my separation, it has gotten progressively worse week by week. That week specifically when the video was filmed was probably one of the worst weeks of my life in terms of domestic violence. That was one of the worst weeks of my life. And I had been continuing to ask for help from people close to me. I'm sorry, hold on. I didn't think that I'd cry about this. I've had to talk about this situation so many times recently. I had asked for help from people in my life over and over, and nobody was helping. I was doing it all alone, and I had said that so many times that I was in an unsafe environment, and nobody was listening. So in that video, I had stepped away, had a little cry at the edge of the tree line where I could see all 3 of my children, and then I noticed Callie started going for the car, and that's when I started walking back. During that is when my daughter also.
So that's part 1. Initial thoughts before we move on to part 2?
That she needed to stop the video to make herself cry.
Oh my God, really? That's your thoughts?
Yeah. Then she wasn't even crying. And also that she, goes to say what happened, but then she has to preface... I guess you would have to preface it with that, but it took a very long time to even get to...
explaining what happened. Well, yeah. A lot of people have been pointing out, and a lot of people predicted that this was kind of what she was going to do, because she does seem to have this pattern of when addressing things that are publicly going wrong, instead of leading with this is what actually happened,
she leads with the reason she should get sympathy for what happened.
And it's not that she's not fucking going through it. And the person she's talking about is Jairus, I think is how you pronounce it, her ex-husband, who she has these 3 children with, and always fucking got a weird vibe from him. But I guess that's who she's dealing with this abuse from, and having a bad week fucking sucks, and being a mom is fucking hard, especially when you don't have help. It takes a village. It really does. It really does. And I feel for her saying she needed help and she couldn't get it. And so she probably just had to go to the park to be like, these kids need to fucking get their energy out, and I'm miserable. Yeah. I understand what she's saying. I just think that it's not that she couldn't explain it. I just think there was a way to do it to take a little bit more, because the thing is, there is a video. What is very compelling to me is that the video wasn't taken by someone who doesn't like Acacia. It was by someone who saw a prolonged...
a stranger recognized it as being weird.
Yeah, and people are judgy and annoying and whatever, but it was likely another mom there at the park with her kids who saw a situation that made them feel uncomfortable and feel they describe these kids as dirty. You know what I mean? I don't know what that means. My son's covered in mud all the time. But it was enough, I guess, to concern a stranger, and that is a little bit telling to me. It's not that I think she's lying at all about her abuse or anything. I just don't see it as entirely... it is relevant because it may explain what happened, but we gotta talk more about it sunk you to that place where I did X,
that's not okay
Y, and Z.
Anyway.
Yeah, we can't talk about it as that's the narrative people want to push. It's not a narrative. There's people who saw it. For your kid to get on top of a fucking car by a road, thank God he got on top of the car and not in the middle of the road in front of a car. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's watch part 2. There's 3 parts. I don't know if we're going to watch it's a lot of the same thing, kind of, but I think that's literally the extent of her explaining the park thing, but I could be wrong. Let's see.
I can't remember where the video stopped, but again,
the tears that weren't there, she just wiped away.
Could not hold it together in that moment anymore. I knew that I needed to step away because I have cried in front of my children so often recently that I've started to pull back from doing that. And so I step away because I could not hold it together anymore, and I was not going to cry in front of the whole park nor in front of my kids. So I stepped to the tree line where I knew that I could have a second, but also keep an eye on everybody. Once I saw Callie was on the car, I started walking back. Brinley also noticed and came to me at the same exact time. I was already on my way. I removed Callie from the car immediately and sat back down on the blanket.
Even that, so I started walking back. No, you fucking run back to get your kid off the car. This whole thing is, I didn't want my kids to see me cry in front of them. but you wanted to leave them alone to potentially run into the street? Like,
again, it's hard for me because I guess because I have that experience as a mom, I'm like, I know, girl, I know you were probably like fucking at your wit's end. You couldn't anymore. And the fact that she doesn't have help, I can't even imagine because I'm lucky to have help. So I'm not even gonna like speak on her needing a moment. But I also just find it a little bit conflicting because of her saying like, I had my eyes on anyone. The kid's like 2 years old. It probably took him a minute to get up on the car. It would take me a minute to get up on a car. And it's also kind of telling to me that she's like, you know, I was meeting basically her oldest daughter was like coming to her to be like, Mom, like he's on the car. And she like met her halfway. So I'm like, well, your daughter obviously felt the need to be like, I need to go get Mom. Like something's happening. So she didn't know you were right there and you probably weren't right there. Like if you were at the tree line. But to me, girl, if you need a moment, take your kids home, sit them in front of a TV with fucking trash food, nobody's judging, and go sit in the bathroom and fucking cry. Like, I get it. But this is not the place to have your moment. Just because this world is terrifying and your kids, something really bad could have happened. Because I guarantee you, the couple of minutes it took your son to get on top of that roof, somebody could have taken him. Like, if you didn't see him getting up there and you only like noticed once he was on the car, that was enough time. So it isn't about like mother shaming her, like being like, you fucking suck as a parent. It's just about like, this was dangerous. And like, it's a little bit concerning that you're kind of writing it off.
That's the thing. I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, she should be perfect and never make a mistake and be just a number one mom at all times. But if you have this moment where you're like, it was just a moment of weakness that I like really needed to have a moment by myself and I shouldn't have walked away. Like the fact that she doesn't recognize that and she's still trying to minimize it is like, no, I could see them, but that doesn't really matter because they were on top of a car.
If this was me, and I had a moment like this where I fucked up. Like, this is actually just a fuck up.
That's the thing. Sure. It's like, it's not attacking the moment as much as her explanation for it.
Well, and if I had a moment like this and I felt like looking back, that's embarrassing. And I cannot believe that even if I was having the worst day of my life, it's okay to look back at that and say like, ooh, that was not right. So it doesn't matter. Like, I feel for you and what you went through, but this isn't a moment to be like, I was at the tree line, I could see them. It's more of a moment to be like, shit has gotten really bad. And I let down my guard and I completely made a mistake. And it's not about apologizing either to the public because you don't need to apologize to us. It's more about like, it's concerning that you don't see it as a parent that this is as bad as it was because it could have been worse. I guess that's what people are so mad about.
That you're writing off everyone's concern as being like a game of telephone. Yeah. And it's like, no, they were concerned because your kid was crawling on top of a fucking van.
Yeah.
Was not being watched. I was not like gallivanting around a forest, taking selfies or anything like that.
Doesn't matter why you were there.
It was just a really hard week. And I was doing everything that I could without the help that I so desperately was asking for. But since that video I think is like 4 weeks old. I mean, it just got posted, but since that video, I knew that I could not rely on the people close to me anymore. And so I have been working with, hold on, that video, sorry, my brain is not working. Since that video, which is about 4 weeks old, I knew I could no longer rely on the people close to me. And so I have reached out for help through other avenues. I am working closely with a social worker who has I do not want to be crying on the internet. Jesus fucking Christ. The social worker, the DHS worker, Department of Human Services, if you don't know what DHS is, it's basically like CPS, but I've been working very closely with her to get help. And she has been the most supportive person in my life recently and has changed my life.
And listen, it's not that I want to cut her story off. It's just that this part and the next part are all talking about the help she's getting for her abuse and stuff. But that's it. That's like her extent of talking about the park. There was a lot of people that answered in the comments that they support her, and a lot of mothers who were just like, dude, it really does take a fucking village. Like, we getting to your breaking point. To me, I am half and half. I understand that, and my heart is with her for going through what she's going through.
But it's that she's not acknowledging that it was a breaking point. She's just minimizing it like it was fine.
Well, she's not minimizing it like it's, kind of is kind of saying it's fine. For me, I just feel like I would have liked to see a little bit more acknowledgement of, I cannot allow myself to get to this point again, because my children will not suffer for what I'm going through. And it's hard as a mom. You go through shit. You're a human being. You're not a fucking rock that's like whatever, but people expect you to be. And that's not like where my brain is right now, but it's definitely feeling a little bit like it's needing more from her, I guess. Like, I just feel like, oh, I would have liked a little bit more Acacia, like a little bit more accountability there.
I just feel like anyone watching, if she was still honest, and I'm not saying that none of this is true.
Right.
But it's that she's saying it like, okay, well, I was at my breaking point. But then she kind of was like, but also, like, I could see them. Like, I was walking back anyway. Like, I was doing this. And it's like, well.
And again, you know, the people who have been following along with her for a long time and seeing her in cancellation after cancellation and how she addresses it, they describe it as like this sandwich of like, something she's going through bad, really quickly mentioning the thing that she did wrong, another sandwich with something that she went through that's bad. And it's an interesting pattern that she kind of brings out whenever she's in trouble from the things that people have said. Her actions are always kind of just belittled by like, I'm going through this, so you guys, like, if you come for me further, that's fucking foul. You know what I mean? And I get it, and it might be, I don't doubt that she's going through this.
But it seems like that's her go-to, like, tactic to get people to, like, lay off because she, like, doesn't know how else to make it stop.
I guess. Honestly, I would have been totally understanding, because at the end of the day, we all make mistakes, and, like, thank God your kids are fine. And I would have been fine with like, you learn from it for sure. I just didn't get that feeling watching this. I'm like, did you learn from it?
100%. That is what is missing. It's like, I think everyone would have felt for you more probably and not doubted it if you had taken accountability. But it's the fact that you don't take accountability. And again, the fact that she literally does not ever even say that it was wrong is very concerning.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's what, like, when I first saw it, I wanted to like, first of all, I wanted to know why she did it. And I was just like, what are the circumstances where your kid would end up on top of the car? That was not what I expected. And then the way it was delivered was definitely not what I expected. I'm interested to see what a lot of you guys think, especially the parents that we have that watch us, because I feel like I understand as a parent, again, going through that hard shit and feeling fucking broken and feeling like you cannot for another second. But what do you think about this? Because even me, I'm like, girl, I don't know. And I don't want to like, I can't say that as like, I would never do this. I don't want my like sympathy of like being a parent and how hard it is to like be misconstrued for like, I leave my kids alone in parks. Like, I absolutely would never.
That's the thing. It's like, there's a spectrum of like, I am at my wit's end and I lost my patience and snapped at my kid for something. As opposed to, I let my kid climb on top of a car and then I walked casually back to go get him.
I know she's gone into some trouble over the years. I haven't really kept up with it.
I almost think that kind of maybe helps the situation though, to like not give me a ton of context to be like, she's this horrible person, because like, no, this is like, something's weird going on here.
Well, something else that's weird that's going on is our final topic. Yeah, this was, I didn't know if I wanted to cover this.
I got tweets from a few people that like, cover book talk. And I was like, I see the word book and my brain is like, nope, not for me.
Honestly, same. And this is coming from the academic reader champion. Oh, okay, no, I was second place because Margaret Alonso was a freaking nerd and she beat me every fucking time.
Title?
Well, basically we had this academic reader, like you would take these tests. So in Florida, like, or I don't know if it's just a Miami thing, but you would read these books and you would take a test on the books. And then the person who got like the highest points was like the highest point person, academic reader of the school, whatever. I don't fucking know. Margaret Alonso, that bitch could read. Oh my God. I swear. I was like just trying. I was always second. She was too much. Like, girl, get a life.
It was like reading comprehension. Like it was like questions about what you
read.
read.
Questions about what you read. So I would read like 2 books a day. I would try, and I would read big, thick books.
But you have the memory of a goldfish. You know, like, I'm surprised you would be good at that.
Okay, that is now, I have devolved as a human being significantly since I was in elementary school. I was a reader. I was thriving. Now I am anxious and sad and tired. And literally, I cannot read a book to save my life. My attention span, thank you, TikTok, has literally gone down the shitter. I cannot pay attention to anything.
Reading is never, I feel like it's probably the undiagnosed ADHD my entire life of why I never liked reading, but that it's like, it's not enough to keep my attention.
Well, that's
like,
me now.
I mean, same with you just said too. I'll read it and I'm like, okay, but like I would have rather seen a visual as well while
Do you
I
like
read.
to listen to books?
No, that's even worse. I need like visual stimulation. So at least there's words to look at when you're reading.
So
Listening,
someone has to
there's
put on
nothing.
like an engaging musical of a book for you to pay attention to it.
It needs to be a movie. So that's why I didn't dive into Booktok more. But as I mentioned, I edit for Angelika, and apparently she's quite the reader, and she was very invested in the story because she's been in the Booktok world for a while.
Yeah, she was talking. I saw her video on this, and she was talking about these books. I'm like, girly, how many books you read? She was talking about all these genres and subgenres, and I was like, I have been out of the loop for a hot minute. I used to just read like Judy B. Jones.
Right, I knew she mentioned like Colleen Hoover at one point, and I was like, okay, I know that name because that's like gotten super popular.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Apparently, Booktok was mostly, it was like book YouTube. That's where I got confused. It's like people now call it Booktok because it's on TikTok, but I guess it used to just be like a YouTube community of people that were very passionate about books. Apparently, it's like, this was so like just new territory for me. I was like, really? Apparently, one of the tropes that's really popular in the book community is to have like hot hockey players, which I feel like that's such a random sport to have. Like,
I thought she was kidding. Like, and not to king shame your hockey fantasies, girlies, but when I heard that, I'm like, you're joking. Like, it's a thing to fantasize about hockey. Like, I don't even think about hockey players. I think I've thought about hockey players as a whole twice in my entire life.
Oh my God, can I tell you that when I was fun and used to go out, I'm like, what year was this? I worked at Clever, I think. I have a friend that lives in Vegas, and she came out to LA for the weekend to visit. So a bunch of us went out, and she works in like the club scene in Vegas. Because of that, the reason she came out was they were doing some event, and she basically texts all of us. She's like, hey, my company's doing a thing here. Do you guys all want to come? I have a table. And we're like, absolutely, free alcohol, sure. So we go, and it's apparently the same night as the Stanley Cup. That's hockey, right?
Yeah.
And the LA Kings had just won. And you know, when you're sitting in a club, like at a table, and it's like, if the table is like in the more middle of the club, there's like then tables next to you. So if you're sitting up on like the back part of it, you're back to back with someone at the other table.
I vaguely know what you speak of, but I'm usually just shaking my ass in a corner the few times I have been in a club.
And the only reason it's relevant is because I was sitting there and there was someone behind me and he kept kind of like nudging, and like it became like an ongoing joke throughout the night because we were all like in each other's space. Come to find, very soon after we turned around and looked, that it was the LA Kings celebrating their Stanley Cup win. And we have pictures with a bunch of them, and I could pull them up now. Literally, most of them didn't have teeth because hockey's a very violent sport that your teeth get knocked out, and they don't get it fixed during the season because it's pointless, because it'll probably happen again. So it's very ironic to me that it's like the romance trope because it's all these like toothless men.
Posh Mama has entered the chat. Of all the things I thought you were going to say, that wasn't one of them.
I know. I have some interesting tidbits once in a while. Bringing us back to why we're talking about all this is apparently hockey guys are like a trope in the book world.
And you know, book people can be very horny.
This is another funny part is that Angelika refers to it as smut.
Smut? Isn't that like what the candle, like, oh no, that's smut. But I'm like, isn't that the black stuff the candle leaks?
That's soot.
Oh, soot. Oh, yeah. Dude, my mom owns a candle company. You would think I would know that.
Anyway,
yeah, like book people get horny over like sexual content. Like 50 Shades of Grey, hello, that was huge.
Very good point. So is there another word for it? I just heard her say smut and I was like, oh my God, that sounds so like, is that a British word?
But she says from that, there's like multiple
erotic
subgenres of, yeah. And like I knew fan fictions.
I was just going to say, so it basically sounds like it's just like a lot of fan fiction that comes out of this.
But they're like actual books, right? Like,
well, it starts as actual books, but then what happens is that, but here's the thing I get. So basically these hockey players that are real people are getting pulled into these situations. So I think their visual like likeness is the character in the book, but it doesn't represent who they are. It's like they would have a different name or something. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm understanding that correctly. So then what happens is that people will like become obsessed with these guys because they're obsessed with the character and what they read and the smut they were involved in. But then they're attributing it to the real life person, not just the character. And they're like tagging the real life person who happens to, what sparked all of this is, I don't remember what the guy's name is. Alex Wenberg. He was the one that like things blew up because there was a girl that started making TikToks that were very, here, should I pull one up?
They're bad. When I was watching this, I was like, huh, like I just could not imagine.
I just wouldn't say this about anything. So like, even if it was
I
like
don't say
a
that
fake
about
person,
my husband. I mean, low key, but like literally it's like to say this on the internet takes a lot of something.
Yeah, so I guess specifically, it's this guy, Alex's hockey team, has been very much the subject of a lot of the Booktok fandom getting obsessed with them. And they have like played into it and they'll like post thirst traps of their players on their TikTok and they'll like comment on Booktok things. And it seemed like all was good and well. And then this girl, Kiera Lewis, and she has 1.1 million followers, and she's like big in the Booktok community. She posts this video, and this is what really just set things ablaze.
Alex Winberg! Baby, I may not got 5 holes, but I got 3. And since you're so good at assisting, why don't you assist your teammates in scoring in all 3 of my holes? Hello! Woo! Just look at that face. Don't it just scream? Sit on it. Hello! When I tell y'all I wake up every day praying to Jesus to turn me into ice, cause what I wouldn't give to have this man glide on me. Hello, Alex, I know you just signed to the Seattle Kraken, but what's a sister gotta do to have you crack this back? Hello, girl, the eyes on this man could literally, he could suck my, well, I could do, whatever. The eyes on this man is insane. Literally, he could snatch my soul from me and I would say thank you. So yeah, Alex, when you done playing your little game, go on and spit out that mouthpiece, cause I got something else you can not spit on. Well, you can do that too, but I got something else to put in your mouth. Hello.
I can't.
It just wouldn't be right if I didn't bring up something completely irrelevant to this situation, which is 3 holes. Does that mean she wants him to stick it in her urethra? What does she mean by that?
Mouth.
Oh.
But I was confused by the mention of 5
She
holes.
was pointing down there. She said, I got 5 holes, but you could stick it in 3. Do the ears count?
Oh,
I have
nose,
questions.
maybe. Yeah, no, I it felt like a...
Not the nose. Listen, not to king shame. No, but I hate to do this, but this feels like catcalling. Like what women fucking despise when men do it to them.
Yes.
Is it not? It feels so aggressive.
Yes.
And even if she's joking, it feels yucky. Like this is what we hate as a whole. We've all decided that we don't like, even if men are kidding and like, oh baby, why don't you smile more? Why don't you fucking come over here and do something? Like we don't like that. Even if you're joking, it makes us feel uncomfortable. Why do it to someone? What the fuck is this?
Well, and why would you do it to someone that you also know is married? It's just like, this is so weird.
Now, what's really interesting to me, and if you want to see Angelika's video, she kind of like deep dives into it. We're not going to like deep dive into every element of it because there is, weirdly enough, a lot to this. But one thing that I did find interesting is that after this video, when she said like crack my back, Angelika refers to the Krakens, the Seattle Krakens, playing into that like crack my back thing, and that they were like kind of reciprocating and joking with her online about it. And I find that very interesting because if the Krakens really did play into it and then also put like slow-mo things where they were talking about Booktok and like encouraging this type of behavior, that to me is an issue with the Krakens in general, where it's like, okay, you're literally like not taking your players like safety and like
no, they were exploiting them for followers. Yes,
100%. Now, what people made the mistake of doing is taking the fact that not only did the Krakens kind of like egg this on and support and even follow this girl after this.
Eventually they unfollowed.
Eventually, yeah. The wife of this man, Alex, I believe her name is Felicia.
Yes.
So Felicia had played into it a bit as well and had said something along the lines of like, my husband is the panty dropper of Booktok or something like that.
Like in an Instagram caption or something.
Yeah. And people took that as like, oh, she supports it, whatever. Well, it turned out that she didn't actually like it so much because she then came out and spoke against this type of behavior and explained that it made her feel extremely uncomfortable the way that people were sexualizing her husband so aggressively, not just in general, not just saying her husband's hot.
That's the thing is she calls it out as like she was originally okay with it when it was just like saying her husband was hot because she's like, yeah, I think he's hot too. Then she said it turned to like straight up sexual harassment, and that is what this is. Like, what are you doing? And then this girl didn't see a problem with what she was doing, and she like found it absolutely ridiculous, and she's like, that was an old video.
And then update, I just found out that I was unfollowed by the Seattle Kraken, all because someone who literally was just feeding into the whole Booktok thing. Oh yeah, my husband, Booktok, love him, da da da. Someone who was just feeding into it now is resurfacing or now switching sides and saying, oh, because of this video 4 months ago, I'm not a fan, I don't like it, I don't like it. For one, like I said again, bitch, everything that comes out of my mouth is a fucking joke. I don't follow half these people. I damn sure don't DM them. But what also pisses me off about, like, I've noticed with musicians and also like sports teams, they like to use Booktok to like get clout. And then they'll like skirt to the side of them and move on to like the next thing. And I'm not fucking rocking with that. And yeah, I'm pissed the fuck off. And which is a rare thing for me. But yeah, I'm pissed the fuck off. The way all of this, I've been having a good ass fucking week, a good ass life. Then the way this shit just blindsided me. And also for me to sit here and see that post that the woman posted to me, and me being an adult and literally message her and say, hey, if you got a problem with it or whatever, of a video I posted 4 months ago, say the word. The video is fucking deleted. Any video is deleted. I haven't even spoke of that man on my fucking page since the beginning of hockey or whatever. So if you got a problem with it, just let me know. Speak to me as a woman. Didn't get no fucking response. So I'm pissed the fuck off.
I'm like, well, I mean, I don't think there's a statute of limitations on this.
What's crazy to me, and when Angelika was explaining it, was hearing that so many people were on this girl's side. And yeah, she didn't like see a problem with it. And she's like, why is everyone coming for me when I'm not, number one, the only person who sexualized him, and number two, the Krakens were into it. You were saying he was a panty dropper. Like, I don't get it.
And let me just say this, because it's pissing me off that I'm seeing my name being dragged on people's social medias when, bitch, I keep telling y'all, I'm not the one. It's come to my attention that I'm not even gonna say people or a whole group of fucking people, because the views tell the fucking opposite. It's come to my attention that a couple of fucking people aren't a fan of me saying crack my back. For one, let's get one thing fucking straight. The original saying was break my back. That it pisses me off that these Facebook people want to come to TikTok and want to make us take this app seriously, when the whole reason why we are on TikTok, our generation is on TikTok, is because it's an entertainment. It's the one place where we can just have fun and not really take things or take life serious. So to see my name being dragged with all these false accusations it's blowing my mind. When I was doing these reactions when back in the country streets, when Luke Bryan and wife would literally repost my fucking videos about him, thinking it was funny. I've had other celebrities repost my reactions thinking it was funny. Their girlfriends, hell, their even moms would send it to them like, girl, she's so funny. She's talking about like how hot you are. So now to be in a conversation where people are the same people that was literally saying, oh, my husband is the Booktok's panty dropper, my name is being dragged. I don't know, it's just literally pissing me the fuck off. Especially when I tell y'all all the fucking time, these 30-second, 45-second videos is just for fun. I make these videos and I go out and live my life with my friends and my family. I genuinely don't take my life seriously. And to say that, it's like, half the people I react to, more than half of them, girl, I don't even follow them on social media. I don't keep up with their life. I genuinely don't really give a damn. And I damn sure don't be fucking DMing them. The fuck do Kiara fucking Bad Bitch Lewis look like? I don't DM these fucking people. So to see these accusations or to see people mad about me saying crack my fucking back, baby, it's TikTok. People are making a fucking salary doing AI. We don't take shit seriously. And unless you're a chiropractor, you really can't crack my back. Now, I'm gonna go back. I just have to get this off my chest because, bitch, I can't talk to my therapist right now. But please, unless you know me, don't have me on your social media. Don't have my name in your fucking mouth. Because, girl, I'm not the fucking one. Like, it literally blows my mind. I'm like, girl, we're gonna leave it there. Go back to Facebook if y'all not liking this Booktok TikTok shit, but don't try to come over here and tell us what to fucking do. Girl, it's jokes. And these jokes happened 4 or 5 months ago. I'm like, this is a screenshot from a video that happened earlier this year. Girl, I'm not the fuck. We're gonna stop it there.
First of all, I don't give a fuck if the wife told you one day, like, totally fine. And the next day I was like, actually, this is really
You
fucked
can
up.
retract
Because first of all, we don't
consent.
know 100%. And people normally understand that, but aren't really applying it to this type of situation where it's like, first of all, we don't know if she kind of gave into it and like played along with it because she just felt that like pressure from the internet to be like cool and not kind of like such a hard ass and like, I don't want to be seen as like jealous or this and that or the other. I don't want to get my husband into like any sort of like trouble either. So I'm just going to go with it.
I wonder if she was maybe even getting some hate before that of being the wife of like everyone's beloved Booktok panty dropper, whatever. But she almost did it as a way to kind of like pacify everyone. To be like, no, I'm in on the joke, kind of. Like, that could have even been a situation.
Honestly, I could think of 1,000 reasons why she would try to play into it. And it makes perfect sense to me. But it also makes perfect sense to me that she can decide that it's maybe not cool for you to say, like, you want her fucking husband to, like, stuff you like a sausage. Like, it's not appropriate. It really just isn't.
And, like, to do it for this, like, 1 minute, like, poor excuse for, like, it's like she's trying to be a stand-up comedian. Like, it's just not even funny.
Yeah, and in her explanation of it, too, it's her just being like, I just like don't really like I don't even take my own life seriously. Like I'm always just joking. And I'm like
well, that's
even
fine,
jokes
but
can hurt people, girl. None of that is relevant to me. To anyone that is like, well, you know, he's famous. Like he should know that people are gonna think he's hot and he's this, that, or the other. Cool. She has 1 million followers on TikTok. You can't just be running rampant saying crazy shit like this. And I honestly think, and Angelika brought this up and I was like, dude, so true. Like this type of like fetishizing, I guess it would be considered, of like things in books and characters, which this is not a character, this is a person, which is like, it's so random they get fixated on this, but I can't go into that. That type of thing is like what porn is to like other people, where it's like this addicting, weird need for more and like passing all these boundaries where it's like, dude, that's not like, we don't talk about people like that. What are you doing? And like, certainly, you know, Angelika was saying in her video, like, I don't want to like sound like the people who are like, well, if the roles were reversed and this was but like, if the roles were reversed,
this would be the creepiest shit ever. Like, could you imagine?
100%. Yeah, and she's like saying it like it's all this like joke, like, hello, like that's her punchline, I guess. And I'm like, girl, it's not giving what I think you think it gives.
No,
like I'm just like
I'm like this
disturbed.
like half-assed like weird stand-up routine where it's just like really cheap, vulgar, it's just weird.
Yeah, but they both came out basically is the whole story. This is the Spark Notes version of it. But like she came out, she expressed her discomfort. He came out and said basically that he also felt uncomfortable and they have a child. And he says that people were commenting on pictures of their children, commenting crack my back and shit like that. And she actually, the craziest fucking shit is that Angelika says she went to actual games of his and would yell like crack my back into the fucking, like, girl.
Hey, it's warm-up time. Let's fucking go. Ah! They doing it. They doing it. Whitmer! 21. Can you do something? Oh, yes, you can do something for me. The pictures don't do Whitmer justice. This boy's a fucking Ken doll. Tame away. What's wrong with you? Damn, I'm trying to be in between the flags. Get it. Yes, Turbo! Oh my God, it's like heaven. They're all on their knees right now. I fucking love it. Baby, my kitty not used to being around this many fine men, man. That's my man! I love y'all!
That is next level. If you are in person, maybe that's why the fucking Seattle Krakens unfollowed her, because she shows up to shows saying crack my back in the fucking audience.
Girl, that's stalker shit. Like, that's so weird. And the fact that someone's wife would tell you and that he would say he's uncomfortable with it and then you would still try and defend it, like, I don't understand.
And not
like,
just her. A bunch of other people are just like,
but that's
yeah, like,
that's the phenomenon of everyone else is guilty by association because they would do the same thing. And they're like weirdly trying to defend it to be like, no, I think it's fine because they do think it's fine. And it's like, no,
that's so true.
You need to go to therapy.
Yeah, I think that anybody who talks about a human being like this, period, I don't care if he's single, I actually think it's disturbing to talk like this to a person you don't know is like sexually attracted to you. Like, I've been with my husband for 6 years and I don't think I've said half that shit. Like, I'm genuinely just like, girl, this is like heavy duty. Like, you may be joking, but holy fuck, like, you want your grandma to see this? Like, this is like
I feel like we covered these stories, like even with some of the Lizzo stuff, that I'm like, I'm like, yes, probably am a huge prude, but like, oh my God, I like can't fathom the things that are coming out of their mouth so casually. Like even with Lizzo and the dance captain talking about like, ooh, I had an oopsie today. I just have never even had that kind of dialogue with my friends. And I can't imagine saying that to strangers or to saying that to a platform. Like, it's just like crazy.
I have always been like an open person sexually relatively, but like at the same time, the only circumstance that I would feel comfortable in like sharing any of these thoughts towards a person is if they're like maybe in a room butt naked with me, and then I could express my
literally.
sexual,
I'm like talking about it with other people. I like my brain's like can't compute. Like
she's like, let me
understand.
put this on TikTok for my 1 million followers to see. I'm like, oh, period. Well, that was a really good point though that you brought up, that anyone like defending them probably has these weird ass thoughts themselves. And like, honestly, we need to as a society decide this is not okay. Because I saw this and I was like, oh my God. No.
Not to bring in a whole other like past topic, but it reminds me even like when people defended Michaela for Lashgate, and we were like, so you just exposed yourself as someone that does not care if people lie. What aren't you seeing here? And this is a situation where it's like, you're exposing yourself as someone that thinks that this is totally fine. And that's strange.
Yeah, but again, this was a SparkNotes version. You guys could check out Angelika's video that Lily edited if you want to see a little bit more in depth, because there's Instagram stories that people posted and a bunch of shit, but that's the SparkNotes version. And if you wanted to know about Booktok, but you don't actually care that much about Booktok, this was the episode for you. Anyway, that's all we have for you guys today. This was filmed on Friday. I got a little tipsy. I was trying some new drinks, and so forgive me if I didn't do things right, okay? I'm sorry.
What is doing things right? At least I, again, didn't drink an old one today. I made sure to throw out any excess ones, and I'm still alive, so clearly the potential mold didn't get to me. If you guys missed it, the last episode, I accidentally drank a week-old Truly, and it was one of the darkest moments of my life.
Because she doesn't get that treatment, because she's Lizzo, is like fucking sickening. Hello? Oh, did you just drink an old Truly? I'm actually gonna throw up. That we filmed like a week ago. I cannot. I'm gonna throw up. Are you gonna swallow it? Oh my God.
I didn't know it's you. I didn't know.
I'm gonna fucking vomit.
Oh my God. I think I might die.
Oh my God, what if it had like mold?
It tasted like it did. Holy shit. Okay. We just need to keep going so I can forget that just happened.
Oh, I just see your face. I'm like, girlie, what did I just say that just like made you?
I was like, why does this taste so weird? I'm like, oh, fuck. Anyway.
Well, luckily for you guys, there's no more Island Boys updates. Just kidding. Actually, they're sucking each other's necks now, but that's also not an official update. Oh no, there's like more, and now that one of them is like kissing the other one's neck.
Now they're more comfortable with it. They're just exploring.
Well, it's so disturbing because the one that's getting the neck sucked is like staring straight at the camera like this, like so unhappy.
I don't... She brought it up. She brought it up. It's her fault this time.
Anyway, that is it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. What the fuck even was this?
I don't remember.
But I hope you enjoyed regardless.
Yeah. God. And thanks again to Scentbird for sponsoring this chaotic episode.
Yeah. We love you. And yeah.
Is it? I don't know. Bye.
It is. Bye.